What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Curious Talk. I'm Caleb Nagusi. Today, we have a very special guest. We have Aunt Viv, aka Daphne Maxwell Reid from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Miss Daphne, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well today. How are you doing today?
I'm awesome. I'm awesome. Thank you for coming out.
Good. My pleasure.
Well, we got a lot to talk about today. So, first thing I want to know is when and how did you start acting?
I kind of probably in high school. I was in the school play and junior high school in the school play. I worked with something called the group theater workshop on Saturday afternoons during high school. And it was run by Robert Hooks, who has been in the business for 100 years. And the group theater workshop became the Negro Ensemble Company in New York. But I had gone to college by then. So I had had my finger in it for a long time, but had never considered it as a career.
Oh,
It kind of came to me as an opportunity. I had been modeling for years while I was in college, and then after I graduated, and then I started doing commercials. And then this guy named Robert Conrad came to town in Chicago, and he was doing a show called The Duke. And you'll have to look up all these names because y'all too young to know who all these people are. So Robert Conrad hired me to be in this series, and that was my first exposure to regular television, just a series.
how
And
old were
then
you at
I
this time?
moved out to Los Angeles a couple of years later and worked with him again and was able to get an agent. And I haven't stopped working since then.
That's awesome. How old were you when you got your first major television role?
Was the Duke, I was probably about 22, 23.
Oh wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, how would you describe your experience working on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Joyful, fulfilling, fun.
Oh, man.
Um,
And y'all even had a live studio audience too, so that's really even better.
that was the first show that I had done with a live studio audience.
Wow.
So it was new for me. It wasn't my first television show. I had been on many series before The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but they were all film shot series.
So how do
So
you what like do they have to back out the noise from the back or
I don't understand the question. Ask that again.
well do they have because in the audience there's people that laugh, there's people that scream and yell. So how do they have to edit that part out?
No, we need that.
Oh.
That's why they're there. And we have to learn to act and leave the pauses for them to laugh so we don't just keep talking over their laughter. So that's on sitcoms, and that's a 4-camera shoot with a live audience. And that's very different from film style where there is no audience and they shoot out of sequence and things like that. But shooting in front of a live audience is like a theater production. But in filming it, you have to learn the rhythm of where the laughs are and when to pause and how to keep the audience engaged.
Yeah, I've seen most theater productions that I've seen are the ones with the old traditional language. So, I tend to fall asleep during those. So I like the ones that are more modern and stuff. Man, I would have had a great time in that show, but it was before I was born. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to be there.
Well, the audience was a great, it was a party when you came to see the Fresh Prince getting shot because we had comedians who were engaging with the audience and before the show started, and there was music, there was a banging DJ every week, and people came on Friday nights to party with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And then in the middle of that party, we just take a pause and shoot a show.
That is awesome. That's awesome. So, was there anyone on the show that you typically you probably enjoyed working with everybody? Was there anyone specific that you enjoyed working with the most?
I enjoyed working with all of them, but the closest relationship I had with a member of the cast was with James Avery.
Mm,
And he and his wife and my husband and I became very good friends, and we traveled the world together. And I just love the man dearly. And since his passing, probably the closest relationship I have is with Karen Parsons.
Cameron, who played Hillary on the show.
You're right.
Ooh, that's awesome. That's awesome. How's she doing right now? I haven't heard much about her.
Then you're not paying attention. She's
You're probably right.
she's a great writer. She has a company called The Sweet Blackberry, and she develops and produces um, little animated stories on Black history for children. And she's
Great.
been doing this for 15 years. So she's doing
Doing
very well. I'm real
uh,
proud of her.
awesome. So, how did you get the role of Aunt Viv?
I had to audition just like anybody else.
Oh wow.
When the show first started in 1993, I had just completed about 5 back-to-back series, and my agent called and said, "We've got an audition for you for a sitcom with a young rapper." And I said, "No, thanks." So I didn't go to the audition. But 3 years later, they called and said, "We would like you to come audition for the role of Aunt Viv in The Fresh Prince." And I'm going, "Isn't there already an Aunt Viv?"
Oh,
And I said, I loved the show by then. So I was very anxious to come and try to be the next Aunt Viv. And it took about 2 weeks and about 5 auditions, but
and you
I
got the part.
ruled the day. I got the part. I was a very happy person.
But how long did it take for the show to become viral to for everyone to find out about it? Because sometimes it takes shows an overnight success. Sometimes it takes them quite a few years.
I think The Fresh Prince was a hit from the beginning.
Oh,
And Will Smith was very much um, star material. So
oh yeah.
I think the show was a hit. Before I got on it, it was a hit.
Yeah.
And it became iconic because of the reruns and because of the development of social media.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Because
yes.
when we started, there wasn't a whole lot of social media. So it was newspapers, it was the TV guide, it was that kind of thing, and magazines. But right now, we're on our 3rd generation of watchers, which is probably you, because your dad's dad probably watched the show. So um, it's been really a wonderful ride.
Oh man. But what's the word? His name is on the tip of my tongue, but the founder and the creator of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Quincy Jones,
Quincy Jones. He is a genius.
he is a genius.
He is a genius. Genius.
Yes, and
Genius.
if you watch the Fresh Prince reunion show that we shot last year on
Oh, I
HBO
did.
Max, you'll hear the story of how Will um, got that job and how Quincy Jones just tapped him at a party and set up a deal at his birthday party. I mean, it
Oh, yeah.
was just an amazing story. So check
Oh
it
yeah.
out on HBO Max if you haven't seen it.
I've seen it, but I'm definitely gonna remind everyone to go out and see that because it is one to remember. One to remember. So, out of all the episodes you've done, which one was your favorite?
My favorite is my first one, of course, but in
Which one was
as
your
a
specific?
watcher, it was the one where Ben Vereen came back as Will's father
Oh
and then
wow!
left again,
Oh
and
man, I love that episode.
that was a great episode.
That's so awesome. What is Offset at the time? Was y'all's relationship close as well, or did it just develop over the years?
We were all close. The youngins, as we say, the kids all hung out together. And Avery and I hung out together, but we had families. I mean, I didn't even live in Los Angeles where we were shooting. So I was going back to my house in Virginia,
Uh-huh.
on the weekend. So there was not a lot of hanging out that was done by me, um, but enjoyed their company while we were on set for sure.
So it felt like an actual family.
Yeah, it still does.
Oh,
It really does. We
oh
are
man,
very close. All of us are very, very close.
that's great to hear. It's great to hear. So how did fans react from the transition of Jeanette Hubert, the first interview, to you?
There were a lot of different reactions, and it was mostly on social media. And
Mm,
there was the comparison that our culture does of dark skin versus light skin and all that, as I call it, BS.
oh yeah.
But I was accepted and embraced by the cast and by the audience. So I didn't see any detriment to me on the transition. I know that Janet had a hard time because of social media and because of whatever prompted her leaving, which I have no idea what it was, or I wasn't in it, so I didn't get the 411 on that. But there was controversy mostly amongst fans themselves on thinking that they had to choose which Aunt Vivian they liked best. You can like
Okay.
both of them. It's okay.
You can have both of them. Exactly. Exactly. I hear people talk about it all the time. I said, I don't have a favorite. I like both of them. They're
They're
all good in their own way.
different. They're different. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So the 30-year reunion you guys had, how did that feel to be all together with Jazz, Alfonso Ribeiro, all these people together in the same house for the first time in a very long time?
It was amazing. And it was set up as an actual reunion. We were not allowed to see each other before we got on set. We all stayed in different hotels. And it was all, the whole production was a surprise to each of us. We had no idea what was going to happen. He just asked us to show up. So it was a blast. It was the one of the best weeks I've had in a long, long time.
How long were y'all there for?
We were there for a week.
For a week? Oh man, that's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, you have to
Um,
go and quarantine and test, and there are protocols that you have to follow because of COVID. So there's a quarantining process before you even get anywhere near the stage. And
But
then there's quarantine protocols on the stage, and they were very strict, and I was very well protected.
but is that house? Is it an actual house or is it a set?
It's always been a set.
It's always been a
It's never
set.
been a house.
Oh, okay, because I hear people saying it's on Airbnb, it's on Airbnb, but I guess not.
The actual house that was the facade that was shown in the episodes with all the white columns in front is an actual house. And we did some what you call those things. We did some of the
The tapes.
social media things in front of the house. And they took that house and took a room in that house and made it into Will's pool house bedroom.
Mm.
And they rented that as an Airbnb for a couple of weekends to raise money for the Boys Club in Philadelphia. So that was cool. We got to see, I'd never seen the actual house before that week.
Oh,
And we
really?
were taken and we shot some stuff in front of the house. But that was the first time we'd ever seen it.
Oh, okay. So the inside where you guys talked and everything like that, where everything took place, is
That
not
was
that actual house. Oh, okay, man. That's a good clarification.
3 walls, no ceiling.
Oh man. You guys see yourself coming back for another reunion in the future?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't look
Uh,
at the future in those terms.
uh, but back to when we were talking about social media and everything. So we all know that there's when we see an actor or a singer, someone we really enjoy their work, when did we start going a step further and diving into their personal lives? Like, hey, so and so had an affair, so and so got a DUI, so and so did this, so and so. Well, yeah, they had a DUI, they had an affair, but so did you. You know, so I don't understand what made society go that step further. Do you happen to know?
That's always happened since Hollywood started. I mean, newspapers used to report it, and there were columnists in magazines that always were looking for things like that. TMZ has been around for 50 years. I
Oh
mean,
man, like,
everybody, that's just news. And it's, I guess we live a very boring life because we don't end up in the tabloids. So, but there was always all that kind of
gossip and
snooping
stuff.
around and wondering who was sleeping with whom and
Hmm.
all that stuff. It
Yeah,
just keeps y'all entertained.
exactly, exactly. So, lastly, do you have any upcoming projects coming up? Or I know you have a business. Can you tell us more about that?
I've been in business for myself for many, many years, and I do photography, and I am a seamstress. I have a design line of coats that I make, I custom make. So I'm an artist on a lot of different fronts. And I did a Christmas movie that's on BET Plus called The Business of Christmas that started, I guess, in December. It's still available for view.
What
I
was
have
it? Can
other
you repeat the name?
projects that they've asked me to my availability on. So I'm just waiting to see what's next. But in the meantime, I'm making masks
Oh
and
wow.
selling those and selling my cookbook because I wrote and published a cookbook. So I've been doing a lot of that.
Well, we're
Uh,
definitely gonna put the link in the description below,
Excellent.
guys.
Go to I have a website that I maintain, that I build myself. I'm one of the older people who is not afraid of a computer. I do a lot of my work on computer. Um, and let's see what else. I am a member of a lot of different organizations and boards where I try to do a lot of purposeful work. Child Fund International is one of my top priorities right now, and the Richmond Ballet, which is just a blast. And I work with arts groups.
You
So,
are a busy, busy, busy lady.
and I'm a mom and a grandma,
Oh
and yeah,
man,
I have a life.
you definitely are living a fulfilling one.
Yes, I'm very fulfilled and very blessed.
Thank you. Well, Miss Daphne, we thank you so so much for coming by today. Hmm.
Well, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful year and good luck. Be safe.
Will
Please be
do.
safe. Wear your masks. It really makes a difference.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And if
Thank
you
you.
need any, go to my website, DaphneMaxwellReid.com. I'll
Will
make them. I'll
will
sell them.
do.
You buy them.
Thank you guys for tuning in to Curious Talk. Don't forget to like and subscribe and turn notifications on. And we'll see you guys next time for the next podcast. Bye for now.